The Fawn. Sometimes the ones who love each other most must also be the bravest. This is their story. Once upon a time, deep beneath the whispering trees, where the dawn light painted diamonds on the moss, there lived a poor forester, his heart full of secret dreams and old forest magic. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath in that place, listening for the stories growing in the shadows. The forester had 2 children from his first wife, a gentle girl named Evie and a bright-eyed boy named Johnny. Their new stepmother was as cold and sharp as winter frost. She never gave them a kind word, never spared them a warm glance, only endless scolding and harsh blows day after day. Times were harsh in the forest. Some days, not even a crumb of bread could be found, and the children's stomachs rumbled like empty caves. Early one morning, the forester spoke with a heavy sigh.
Wife, what will we feed our children today?
Why are you asking me?
She snapped.
Go to the woods and see what you can find.
The father trudged away, searching from dawn until dusk. All he managed to catch was a single little bird.
Here, boil this bird for our supper.
They cooked the bird, and each barely had a taste. The next day, the forester mourned again.
Oh my God, what will we eat today?
Oh, stop your whining and go provide for us.
He went off and, after much luck, managed to catch a rabbit. Joyfully, he brought it home for dinner, then set off again to try his luck. The stepmother cleaned the rabbit and, just as she was about to put it in the oven, went to fetch water. While she was gone, the clever house cat crept in, snatched the rabbit, and gobbled it up. When the stepmother returned and saw the rabbit was gone, she nearly fainted from shock and rage. Terrified of her husband's wrath, she seized a knife, cut off a piece of her own flesh, and put it in the pan instead. That night, the forester returned and ate in silence. Now and then, he shook his head.
I have never tasted anything quite like this. Aren't you eating with me?
Oh, I'm not hungry. I haven't felt well all day.
So he ate it all himself. The next morning, still barely dawn, the forester groaned.
Oh, wife, what will we eat today?
Did you like last night's dinner?
I did.
Then, with a chilling calm, the stepmother finally spoke aloud the true horror of her plan.
Now, listen, let's get rid of your wretched children next.
For a heartbeat, the world seemed to stop. The words hung in the air, sharp and cold as a knife. There are moments so dark that only the devil could have inspired them. And in this house, evil always found an eager ear. The forester's eyes narrowed. He hesitated, but the shadow in his heart was stronger than love or decency.
I agree, but only if you swear 7 times never to betray me.
They swore a terrible oath and agreed to first kill the boy, then the girl. But while Johnny slept on the stove, Evie had heard every word, trembling like a leaf but not daring to move. When morning came, the angry stepmother called.
Children, go to the woods and fetch dry sticks. We're roasting meat today.
Evie and Johnny obeyed. While gathering wood, Evie whispered,
Johnny, do you know why we're gathering these sticks?
Of course, for roasting meat.
Yes, but for you, brother. I heard them plotting to kill us both.
Johnny stared at her in shock, his eyes wide and fearful. Evie squeezed his hand, trying to sound braver than she felt.
Don't be afraid. When we get home, I'll ask stepmother to braid my hair. You slip into the room and grab my ribbon. I'll run after you, and we'll escape together.
They brought the sticks home, and the stepmother praised their speed. Then Evie pleaded,
Please, stepmother, will you braid my hair?
Of course, but first, go fill the big pot with water.
Evie hurried up to the attic, took 2 small loaves she had hidden, and returned. The knife on the table gleamed like silver. The stepmother undid Evie's braid, laid the ribbon aside, and began to comb her hair. Suddenly, Johnny rushed in, snatched the ribbon, and ran out the door. Evie darted after him, calling,
Give me back my ribbon! Give me back my ribbon!
A few moments later, the stepmother noticed the sudden quiet. She stepped outside and saw that the children were gone. Her anger exploded.
No, you little runaways. May you both turn into whatever you drink from.
The siblings ran through sun-dappled woods and shadowy valleys, guided only by their wide, watchful eyes. But soon the sun blazed down, and Johnny grew terribly thirsty. They came upon a bear's muddy paw print filled with rainwater.
Sister Evie, I'm so thirsty.
Don't drink from that or you'll turn into a little bear. Here, chew this loaf instead. It might help.
Johnny chewed the bread, and his thirst faded. They walked on and found a wolf's paw print, shimmering with water.
Evie, I'm even thirstier now. I want to drink from that puddle.
Don't drink or you'll turn into a wolf. Take this last loaf instead.
Johnny chewed it and felt a little better. But the sun grew hotter and Johnny weaker.
Sister Evie, please, do you have another loaf?
Oh, my dear brother, that was the last one. Hold on just a bit longer. There must be a spring nearby.
They came to a deer's hoofprint, sparkling like crystal.
Evie, I can't go any farther. I have to drink.
Don't or you'll become a little deer.
But Johnny, desperate, bent down and drank. Instantly, he transformed into a fawn, soft-eyed and trembling. His small hands turned into gentle hooves. Evie's heart ached as she watched his wild eyes search for hers, still shining with gentle trust. When Evie saw her brother changed, she wept bitterly.
Oh no, my poor unlucky brother. What will I do with you now? If hunters or wild dogs come, they'll catch you for sure.
But the sad little fawn stayed close by her side. Hardly 10 steps later, they found a sparkling spring, clear as diamond. Evie drank deeply, and at once, a golden star appeared on her forehead, and her hair shone with golden light. They walked farther until they found a sunny meadow with a haystack. The hay smelled sweet, like sunshine and memories. Evie pressed her cheek to its warmth.
Little fawn, let's stay here. Stepmother will never find us.
They made a cozy nest in the hay, safe from wind and rain. Each morning, Evie sat atop the hay, brushing her shining hair as quiet tears slipped down her cheeks.
If only my mother could see me sitting up on this haystack brushing my golden hair, while she's safe at home sewing by the warm stove.
With a quiet sigh, Evie set down her brush and climbed back down into the hay. The little fawn grazed in the meadow. Evie lived on strawberries and roots. Sometimes, as twilight wrapped the world in silver, she would sing to him and stroke his golden ears. And for a moment, they almost forgot they were alone. Time passed, quiet as falling snow. In that same forest, a young king often came hunting. One bright afternoon, Evie was resting on the haystack when the fawn dashed by, with a dog following close behind. The fawn slipped into the haystack, but the dog, seeing Evie, wagged his tail and ran back to his master. The huntsman tossed the dog a bit of meat, which the dog carried straight to Evie, dropping it at her feet before bounding away. He did this again, and the young king grew curious. He tossed another piece and this time followed the dog, until at last he came upon Evie herself.
Oh, what are you doing here, girl?
Evie shared their whole sad story, from their lonely days in the forest to their daring escape.
Would you come with me?
No, because you might let someone hunt my little fawn.
Don't worry. I'll never let anyone harm him. Come with me. I promise you'll both be safe and happy.
Winning her trust with gentle words, the king brought Evie and the fawn to the castle. Evie found everything she needed, and the fawn was well cared for too. She was given gowns finer than she'd ever dreamed, velvet and silk the color of sunrise and moonlight. The kitchens filled her plate with honey cakes and fruit she'd never tasted before. The king gave the fawn a soft bed of moss and sent the kindest grooms to tend him. Evie learned new songs, stories, and even how to dance and write in golden ink. When autumn leaves first fell on the castle walls, and again when snowflakes spun in the high windows, Evie's smile grew brighter, and the fawn's eyes shone with gentle happiness. When she was grown, the young king married her, but first he swore never to let harm come to her brother. But in the royal castle, there lived an old witch who was furious the young king had married Evie. She had dreamed he would marry her own daughter, and each night she muttered curses into her cauldron, growing more bitter and twisted with envy. One day, the king had to leave for war. He put the witch in charge of the queen, who was soon to give birth. The days passed slowly in the castle, and soon the time came for the queen to give birth. Evie bore a beautiful baby boy, with a golden star shining on his forehead, but she was weak and thirsty. She begged for water.
Please bring me a sip of water.
The Danube flows beneath the window. Lean out and drink.
But I am too weak to reach.
If you won't, then you'll get no water from me.
Desperate, the queen leaned out the window, and the witch pushed her into the river, then put her own daughter in the queen's place. Evie did not drown, but instead she turned into a golden duck and floated down the Danube with the other ducks. But the baby, missing his mother, cried and wailed without end. The little fawn rushed in, gently moving his antlers as if to say, "Give me the baby, I will rock him." The old witch, unable to calm the child, laid him across the fawn's antlers.
Go then, may trouble follow you wherever you run.
The fawn carried the baby down the riverbank, calling out to the ducks.
Ducks, lovely ducks, have you seen this baby's mother?
We've seen her. We've seen her in the wide reed bed.
The ducks quacked. Again and again, the fawn carried the baby to the river, and the golden duck would glide to the shore, transform into a beautiful lady, cradle her child, and say,
My sweet golden boy, it's all right, Mama's here. Drink and rest in my arms.
She would cuddle and kiss him, then place him back on the fawn's antlers and slip into the river once more. Time passed, and the fawn visited the river every day, the baby growing strong and lovely. At last, the king wrote home. He would return soon. Hearing this, the old witch told her daughter to pretend to be sick, and when the king arrived, to demand the fawn's flesh to eat. The king arrived, delighted with his beautiful child, but puzzled by the woman in bed. She had no golden star or golden hair. The witch quickly explained,
The sickness took it away. Her star and hair passed on to the child.
but the daughter began to wail.
Oh, if only I had venison. I want to eat the little fawn.
But I swore never to harm him. Why now?
Still she wailed,
I want that fawn. Bring him to me now, and now.
At last, the king gave in. The knives were sharpened, the water started to boil. At that moment, the baby awoke and cried out. In rushed the fawn, moving his antlers again. The king, puzzled, asked why.
He wants to rock the baby.
The witch explained. So the baby was placed on the fawn's antlers, and the fawn dashed out the door, followed by the king. Down to the riverbank they ran, where ducks floated on the shining water. The fawn called,
Ducks, lovely ducks, have you seen this baby's mother?
We've seen her. We've seen her. In the wide reeds.
The golden duck flew to the shore and became a beautiful lady, hugging the child.
My sweet golden boy, it's all right. Mama's here. Drink and rest in my arms.
This time, as she held the child, she whispered, sobbing,
Oh, if only your dear father knew what has been done to me, how the witch threw me into the Danube.
At that moment, the king sprang from behind a bush and caught her in his arms. She turned back into a golden duck, and then into all manner of creatures. But the king held her tightly.
I will not let you go until you become as you once were.
A flash of light. Suddenly, she stood before him as his golden-haired wife once more. And at her side was Johnny, no longer a fawn, but a young man at last. Joyfully, they returned to the castle. The king secretly brought his wife, her brother, and the child into a private room where no one would find them. The old witch believed the fawn and baby were lost forever and was delighted. The next day, the king ordered a grand feast inviting all the nobles. The old witch swelled with pride as her daughter sat at the king's side. When feasting was at its height, the king stood and addressed his guests.
Noble friends, I have a question. What would someone deserve who plotted to kill 2 innocent souls and ruin a third's happiness?
The old witch quickly replied,
Whoever did such a thing should be put in a barrel lined with nails and rolled down a hill.
At that moment, side doors opened and in walked the true queen, holding her child by the hand and followed by her brother, now a handsome youth. The king told the whole story. The old witch and her daughter were taken away and punished just as she herself had declared. Finally, the king seated his golden-haired queen on his right, her brave brother on his left, and their golden boy between them. And together they all rejoiced with laughter and love, as magical moonlight bathed the castle windows, perhaps even to this very day.